So guys, now we're going to talk something about ciliary body with much more added energy. So let me write the topic here: ciliary body. Okay, and this is the second part, as I already described. Here you can see after iris there comes ciliary body. So we're going to talk about this ciliary body. Okay, so ciliary body, it's the forward continuation of the choroid at ora serrata. Okay, so if you wonder about what is ora serrata, then let me draw this figure. Okay, first of all, let me draw the figure. Yeah, can you see this? This is your ciliary body, and this is your iris. This is your iris, and yeah, this is again your ciliary body. This is your ciliary body, and after this choroid or ciliary body, or this iris, this choroid, this uveal tract, there comes a layer of retina. Okay, this is a layer of retina, and this is the non-visual part of the retina, and this is the visual part of the retina, and the junction point between this non-visual part and this visual part is what we call ora serrata. So the ciliary body is nothing but it's the forward continuation of the choroid at the ora serrata. Now it's clear to you all, and the ciliary body is triangular in cut section. Okay, and anterior side of the triangular ciliary body forms the part of the angle of anterior and posterior chamber. Suppose this is your lens and this is the suspensory ligaments, and suppose this is your anterior chamber, and this is your posterior chamber, and you can see this part of the ciliary body is forming the part of this angle, okay, of the posterior chamber angle and the anterior chamber angle. Okay, and now let me draw another picture here. Suppose this is your ciliary body and this is the iris, okay, and the anterior 2 millimeter part with the finger-like projections, this is called pars plana, and the posterior 4 millimeter long part, which is very smooth, and this is called pars plicata, and this is called pars plana. Okay, and now let's get into the microscopic features or appearance of the ciliary body. The ciliary body has 5 layers, and as this figure shows, there are 5 layers. The first one, as I already told before, supraciliary lamina, and the second one is stroma, okay, and the third one is pigmented epithelium, and the fourth one is non-pigmented epithelium, and the last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this is internal limiting membrane. Okay, and these layers are not that much significant clinically, so we'll discuss about them in brief. So let's talk some points about supraciliary lamina. You know, this superciliary or supraciliary lamina, it is the, you know, outermost condensed part of the stroma, okay? Outermost condensed part of this stroma, and it consists of the collagen fibers, consists of collagen fibers, and posteriorly it is continuation of the, you know, suprachoroidal lamina, okay? Is the continuation of suprachoroidal lamina. You know, the suprachoroidal lamina, this is actually the iris, and this is the ciliary body, and this is your choroid, okay? And the first layer of the choroid, that is suprachoroidal layer, is its posterior continuation, okay? This is the posterior continuation of supraciliary lamina. Okay, so let me give one trick here. Yeah, and I don't know it is the good trick, but I feel easy to memorize this way. Suppose this is iris, this is ciliary body, and this is choroid. If you memorize these layers by doing comparison, then it'll be easy for you. Iris, the first layer of iris is anterior limiting layer, second one is stroma, third one is anterior epithelial layer, and the fourth one is posterior pigmented epithelial layer. And similarly, the first layer of the ciliary body becomes superciliary lamina and stroma, and the pigmented layer and the non-pigmented epithelial layer, and the fifth one is internal limiting membrane. Now you can see the second layer is common for them, stroma, and the third one pigmented epithelium. Okay, this is anterior, and this is also pigmented epith layer. This third is also common, but here you can see this is pigmented and posterior epithelium, but this is non-pigmented one, okay? And this is internal limiting membrane, and this is absent here, okay? And in choroid you can see the first layer is suprachoroidal layer, and this is continuation to this, and it is the continuation or posterior continuation of iris first layer, okay? So you know, I didn't make this very much clear in terms of handwriting or a figure, because, you know, I just wanted to give you an idea to read these layers by comparing with each other, so it'll be easy to memorize some special features of these layers. Anyways, let's get into the topic now. Yeah, this supraciliary layer, it consists of the collagen fibers, and posteriorly it is continuation of the suprachoroidal layer, and anteriorly, you can see anteriorly it becomes continuous with the you know, anterior limiting layer of the iris. Okay, now I think you understood. Now let's get into the stroma part, okay? Stroma part. It's a little bit messy, but I hope you will get it if you are looking this video from the very beginning. Okay, and stroma, you know, it consists of connective tissues, okay? Connective tissues like collagen fibers and fibroblasts, okay? And embedded in the stroma we can find, you know, ciliary muscles and vessels and nerves, okay? And many more, and even pigmented cells and other cells. Now, ciliary muscles, you know, are interesting, or let's say important point about ciliary muscle is ciliary muscle is triangular in shape, and it is a non-striated muscle, and it has three parts. The first one is longitudinal, the second one is circular, and the third one is radial, or in some books it's written oblique to radial and meridional to the longitudinal. Okay, so it is all about ciliary muscle that we need for exam. And one important point about the ciliary muscle is, it's a nerve supply. Okay, ciliary muscle is supplied by parasympathetic fibers. Okay, and that is through short ciliary nerves. Okay, so we talked about stroma too. Now let's come into the third layer, and that is layer of pigmented epithelium. And layer of pigmented epithelium, it's the forward continuation of retinal pigment epithelium. Okay, you can see this pigment epithelial layer, and this is the continuation of the retinal pigment epithelium, which we have not drawn here. You can see the retinal pigment layer in here, in this retinal layer. Okay, anyways, just you have to memorize this. That is the layer of pigmented epithelium present in the ciliary body is the forward continuation of the retinal pigment epithelium, and anteriorly this pigment epithelium is continuous with the anterior pigmented epithelium of the iris, as shown here. Okay, I hope you saw this, though a little bit unclear. This third layer, pigment epithelial layer of the ciliary body, is continuous with the third layer of the iris, that is anterior pigment epithelium. Now, number 4, layer of pigmented epithelium. Oh, sorry, non-pigmented epithelium. Okay, I already mentioned about pigmented epithelium. Now, a layer of non-pigmented epithelium, it consists of mainly, very important point, low columnar cells, or even sometimes cuboidal cells. Okay, and it is formed by continuation of sensory retina. Okay, just memorize this. Okay, it is formed by continuation of the sensory retina, and it is continues anteriorly as the posterior internal pigmented epithelium of iris. Okay, you can see here a non-pigmented layer is continuous with the pigmented posterior epithelial layer of the iris. So the fourth layer of ciliary body is continuous with the fourth layer of the iris. That's the point. Now let's come into the fifth point, and that is internal limiting membrane. Okay, it's nothing but the forward continuation of the internal limiting membrane of the retina. Okay. Now, now at the end of the topic ciliary body, I want to discuss some points on ciliary processes. Okay, so ciliary processes are nothing but these are, finger-like projections that are present in the ciliary body. Okay, these are the ciliary process, and don't confuse yourself. This is the iris, and then this whole is the ciliary body, and here onwards choroid. Okay, so ciliary body, these are finger-like projections, okay, and there are around 70 to 80 ciliary processes. And yeah, these finger-like projections, these arise only from the anterior 2 millimeter part, that is pars plicata. Okay, ciliary processes arise in the pars plicata part of the ciliary body, and each process is about 2 millimeter long and has diameter of about 0.5 millimeter, and these are white in color. Okay, it may come in your exam, and each process is lined by two layers. Suppose this is a ciliary process, and each process is lined by two layers of epithelial cells. Okay, two layers of epithelial cells, and the core of the ciliary process consists of blood vessels. Okay, here it contains blood vessels, and the next one can be connective tissues. Okay, the core of the ciliary process consists of the blood vessel and the connective tissue, and they are rather loose connective tissue. Okay, and one interesting point on this ciliary process is these processes are the site of aqueous production.